Metcalf, we're back. Another one. And go blue. It's a big episode.
Go blue,
30,
baby.
30 and 30. We're going a little favorism for Metcalf here. Some hometown favor. We're going with Yaxel Lendeborg today. Transfer from UAB, going to Michigan this year. Really talented prospect that I think a lot of us at No Ceilings thought that he could have been a bit of a first round, riser last year. He tested waters, ended up, going down to the last couple of days, but I think this is going to be an interesting one, Metcalf, this year, because a lot of scouts were intrigued last year, but a lot of scouts also were like, I'd love him to go up, and let's see what we got. Even though he's going to be a little bit older, Michigan's got him at 6'9", 240. Versatile, Swiss Army knife, a little bit of a tough guy, mentality. What do you like about Yaxel Lendeborg? I think this is going to be a fun year for him at Michigan. The hope and the assumption is he's going to be playing that Danny Wolf role, but what gets you excited for Yaxel this year with the blue?
And that's certainly the hope. And when you look at basically every Dusty May big that he's ever had, they've always gotten a lot better at very different areas too. So the hope is that he unlocks even more in Yaxel's game that we saw quite a bit get unlocked last year, but doing it at the Big Ten level, a little bit different than doing it in the American. And what I like about him is the ball skills, the IQ, the versatility, the size. It's a really fun package for probably someone who's more of a power forward at the next level. And it'll be really fascinating to see. It's like, all right, you're going to be a little older as a prospect. NBA teams don't love that. And he's also kind of this tweener where he's not the biggest, most explosive guy. So it's like, all right, can you really play the five? But he's also not the quickest, most agile and fastest guy. So it's like, all right, can you really scale down and play the 4 and guard perimeter guys? I think he's in this really tricky situation where it's like, all right, what are you? Like, we know you're skilled. We know you're productive. We know that you're a lot of fun. But from an NBA context, I think there's still a lot of questions about who is Yaxel Lendeborg as a player.
Yeah, I mean, he checked a lot of boxes. He had fantastic measurements at the combine last year. I believe he was around 6'9" 3/4", so almost 6'10" with a 7'4" wingspan, which is like, okay, you love to see that. Yaxel checks a lot of boxes when you look at like production, analytics, whatever you want to say. And then all of a sudden you watch his playing style and you're like, okay, he can really fill it up. But I think there's still are you beating up on smaller competition? Can you really do this at the next level? You mentioned his age. He's going to be, he's going to be 23 at the day of the draft. He'll be 24 during, opening months of his rookie year at the NBA level. Averages last year, 17.7 points, 11.4 rebounds, 4.2 assists, 1.7 steals, 1.8 blocks, shooting splits of 52, 35, 75. Those threes, though, only 1.9 attempts per game. So, Metcalf, when it comes to Yaxel, I've been a big fan. I feel like you guys are starting to now crown me as the Yaxel believer. And I was like, I didn't ask for this, but I'm willing to go to war for Yaxel Lendeborg. I like a lot of the tools. He's going to have to be sensational this year because we see how age really does, it matters with NBA teams. It really does matter. So if he wants to get into that, the teens and everything, I know like, hey, big board rankings and where they end up are a much different world. But if he wants to get up there, I think he's going to have to be just fantastic this year. What do you need to see from him to really be like, hey, regardless of his age, look what he did this year. I would take a chance on him. Is it the shooting? Is it just the defense for you?
It's both those. First off, the shooting. At first glance, 36% for a big. That's a fun number. But then you factor in how low the volume is, and it's like, oh, all right, little misleading. Also, when we kind of think of the shot attempts that we'd like him to take, it's mostly spot up and pick and pop type stuff. But when he shot off the catch last year, he shot just 34.1% and ranked in the 43rd percentile shooting off the catch and 29th percentile in frequency. Little concerning. So I really need to see, all right, how legitimate is the shot? And, when I say I need to see, I mean from like an evaluation standpoint.
Right.
Because I think regardless, he's going to be a really, really awesome college player and super valuable to Michigan. And he's going to help them win a ton of games. I'm talking about NBA translation here. And if he's still just in that 36 to 37% range, I need that 3-point attempts per 100. Last year's at 3.2. I'm going to need that up around 8. So I'm going to need that to at very least double in terms of volume with similar efficiency. And we saw Danny Wolf have that type of transformation last year, going from Yale to Michigan. So the hope is that that's kind of what we see from him, because he's probably also going to be sharing a lot of time with other bigs in Mirage Johnson and Adai Mara, who are definitely more interior based, at least at this point. On the defensive end, I mean, his defensive metrics are awesome. But again, it came at UAB in the American Conference. His block rate was 5.1, really good. Steal rate 2.8, really good for a big. But I always left wanting more on defense, whereas like it's just the playmaking was solid, but the recognition, the processing speed, the positioning was always a little inconsistent, a little erratic, and I feel like those defensive playmaking numbers really inflated the overall perception of how good he was as a defender.
It kind of gave me weird. This is I guess a little bit of a hot take, but it gave me weird vibes the more you watched him on film. I almost got like that high school feeling we always talk about of like the studs that just seem to they'll turn it on when they have to defensively.
Yeah.
Yaxel was awesome. Like Yaxel at UAB was, a bully. He would get around the basket. He was physically dominant at times of just being like, I know I'm tougher. I know I have more size, and plays with a lot of passion. Defensively, you could see him coasting a little bit, but then all of a sudden turn it on at the last second to kind of get a block or something. I'm with you. I think the defense, if he could show it, could be consistent, because he was just playing another speed at times last year in a positive way. But if this year it could be like, hey, it's turned up a little bit, I think he's still going to intrigue because of the size, the length, the positional versatility, if you want to put it that way. I don't need to see him personally. I don't need to see him shoot it like way, way better. I like to even see like, the playmaking, is it legit in this great system for Dusty May? Or I'd like also to see like, he bought in defensively. He's just a bully. Because this is a Michigan team with a lot of incoming talent that's getting really excited when you kind of think about it.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be in a better position than Danny Wolf was last year. And I'm sorry for continuously referencing that, but we have like a case study for this type of player from just a year ago, so it's kind of hard not to reference it. But Wolf ended up having to play that de facto point guard position, despite not being a point guard. It allowed him to show off his ball skills and passing and playmaking, and it ended up doing wonders for his draft stock. But it wasn't the best use of his capabilities. Instead, I think now that they brought in Elliot Cadeau and LJ Kaysen hopefully takes another leap, like I think they're going to have a more steady hand of an actual point guard and someone who can initiate the offense, which will then put Yaxel in more of that short roll creator or that box and elbows type of creator, and put him in situations to really highlight that 22.9 assist rate that he showcased last year. So I think the passing's legit, and I think he's going to be in a much better spot to showcase it in a much more applicable role for what would likely be expected of him at the NBA level.
Completely agree. I mean, he had some months last year where you're like, oh my goodness, look at what Yaxel Lendeborg's doing at UAB. He started out the year strong, 19-9 with 3 assists and a 1.4 blocks per game on 54, 41, 71. Then he has a tough month of 14-11, which is always fun to say that. Bad month, 14-11, but 55, 22, 61. Then just bounced back like with the vengeance of 19, 10, 6, and 2.3 blocks on 58, 35, 77. So it's like Yaxel's been this productive beast at UAB after being in junior college for a couple of years. He's going to be older. He's technically a graduate student, but I think that's why scouts are still so intrigued. It's like, hey, it's a little bit of a late bloomer. It's someone that's productive. It's someone that checks a lot of boxes. Can it take another leap going up against tougher competition? I still think, he could be a guy that's like, hey, maybe we get, away from the lottery talk, but maybe some team picking a little later is going to get a really juicy talent that could fit a lot of, ingredients with what they're looking for moving forward.
Yeah. And if he can prove that he can like play like Kyle Anderson, where he's just a basketball savant and the game is so slow for him. And honestly, it should be. He's 23. He's going to be 23 for like the entire year. He's going to be significantly older than these guys. The game should be a lot slower for him, but then also pair that with some floor spacing and reliable pick and pop shooting, some reliable spot up shooting. He doesn't have to be, an elite shooter. He doesn't have to be Karl Anthony Towns from outside, but can he be reliable in those play finishing situations while also continuing to showcase his IQ, his versatility, and defensive execution, doing the little things? The numbers and the production rock. Now, can you do the little things while also doing the big things?
Absolutely. All right. Another one down, Metcalf. We're marching on. We're getting close. This one's been Yaxel Lendeborg. Every day, 30-30, we're going to have a new prospect we're breaking down for the 26 draft cycle that you guys need to get caught up on right before the start of college basketball season. So make sure you check out the No Ceilings NBA YouTube channel, subscribe, like, share it, tell your friends, go down a rabbit hole and watch all of these. Let's get pumped for the draft season. Thank you guys for your support as always. We'll see you soon.